We continue with our class Shabbos Home, and this session and all that we're going to learn today should be also dedicated to Leilu Neshama HaLevLeib ben Zion, also L'Chavdel Refuah Shlema to our dear Rabbi Yaron Ruven. His name is Yaron Ben Doris, Ariel Ora Basana, Yemim Arasi Rachel Bas Brindel, and also Atzlacha Rabba to Giveres Chana Bas Avraham Avinu, the whole family. BeEzrat HaShem. All right, so continue today with Shabbos Home. And we're on chapter number 32. So it's a very long chapter, Baruch Hashem, because it's involved, as we learn, many areas of our life. Right, very applicable to Shabbos, very demolishing. Okay, and we what? Let's see a second. So it's a section 5, and our topic is types of the structure and object that may be demolished on Shabbos. So I mean, generally it is not allowed, but in some cases it is allowed. Okay. So and next subsection D is a disassembling movable utensils. Number 1, large utensils. Large utensils, because of their great size, halachically regarded as small buildings. Therefore, with regard to melacha of both building and demolishing, these utensils are treated as a full-fledged structures. Hence, just it is forbidden by biblical law to demolish structure, even if the components are not tightly joined. So too, it is forbidden by biblical law to disassemble large utensil, even if components are not tightly joined. For example, it is forbidden to leave a sliding door of a large bookcase out of the truck on Shabbos. Since the bookcase is large utensil, removing even it loosely, even if loosely fitted door from it violates the Melachot of demolishing. Okay, so that's okay. So it was number 1. Okay, so let's do case by case. So again, demolishing movable utensils. So movable meaning something that is not attached to the ground even. Right, movable. Okay. So large. First is large utensil, and as we spoke before, what is definition is large utensil is 1 by 1 by 3. So one amma. Amma is like elbow, right? By 1 by 3. So cubit amma is the same thing. So it's 2 feet by 2 feet by 6 feet, right? Approximately. So meaning like a larger dresser is going to fit this definition. A bookcase for sure. I mean, larger one for sure is going to fit this definition. Okay. So meaning it's considered like a building itself. Even sometimes, as we spoke before, it is attached to the wall, for example. Like sometimes it does not attach to the wall, but it's absolutely relevant. It's like a building itself. Right. So we were talking about Melachot of building. This is demolishing, but we spoke extensively in Melachot of building. Therefore, with regard to melacha, to the melachos of both building and demolishing, the utensil is treated as full-fledged structure, right? So these large ones. Hence, just it is forbidden in biblical law to demolish a structure. So a structure like a house or a wall or something, right? Or fence, right? Even if the components are not tightly joined. So it is forbidden by biblical law to disassemble large utensil, even the components are not tightly joined. So, and another example would be taking a drawer from this big dresser, taking out drawer. I mean, today, as I think we said before, there is like a special lock system. It's not so simple. You have to like lift like this, or like you have to press this some things on the left, on the right, one on top, one to the bottom. Like it's not so simple. But in olden days. Right. I'm not sure when they came up with the Israels. You just move a little harder, like right, and you have this draw in your hand. So meaning, if it's a large one, it would be a violation of biblical commandment. Disassemble, even though, as we said, it does not attach firmly. Okay. So right, so that's what we said about large utensil, or have a nail sticking out or something like it's loose, so we're not allowed to take it out from the wall. Right. Once we had the neighbors downstairs, and then they were into nailing things. I'm not sure how many nails, and she and he and they're crazy, and they would bang nails like hard, and I don't know, that's too much. I mean, but some people into nails. So like, and then you come to the apartment, there are many holes from nails. Crazy people. Okay, so usually today we use like screws. Right, but of course, screw you cannot pull out with your finger, but nail sometimes, right, you can pull out with your finger. So again, it would be absolutely forbidden. For example, one is forbidden to leave a sliding door of a large bookcase out of the truck on Shabbos. So if it is there attached, and these sliding doors, they have, I mean, they're different technology, but the simple one, But you have this rail, and you have wheels on top. So sometimes when it does not fit tight enough, so this wheel would come off of the rail. There is no problem. Since one wheel is still there, you can put it back. But if it's completely fell off the tracks, so of course you're not allowed to put it back. Do they have bookcases like that? I don't know, maybe. Majority of bookcases that I personally saw, it's not like a big expert, but what I saw, they have regular doors, not the sliding doors. But technically, I mean, what is the problem with sliding doors? I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's possible that they do with sliding doors as well. Right. And it says, since the bookcase is a large utensil, removing even a loosely fitted door from it violates the Melachot of demolishing. Okay. Number 2 is small utensils. So small utensils, as we already learned, just to remind us, if it's tightly joined, forbidden on a biblical level, on a rabbinical level, I think. If it's loosely joined, it's not forbidden. So let's see, small utensils. Okay, so A, where components are tightly joined. As we explained in chapter 30, so it's 2 chapters ago, one who assembles a small utensil whose components tightly joined transgresses Melachot of building. Conversely, one who disassemble a small utensils whose components are tightly joined, transgressive Melachot of demolishing. So looks like it's on a biblical level. So if it's tightly joined on a biblical level, for example, it is forbidden to unscrew a head of a broom, right, from the broomstick. One who does this in order to reattach it even more firmly, right, in which case the demolishment was performed for a constructive purpose, has violated the Torah prohibition. Right. So okay. So let's start from the beginning and we explain. So again, like when a person asks a question, and when somebody answer without qualifying the question, it means that a person who answers does not, unless they know the history and they know this person, they know this question was asked before, they were in their house, they exactly know what this person is asking, but otherwise you have to continue asking because we're going to explain. So again, explain chapter 30. One who assembles a small utensil whose components are tightly joined transgresses Melachot of building. So it looks like on the biblical level, but again, only, right. So far so good. Okay, so continue. Conversely, one who disassembles a small utensil whose component tightly joined transgresses Melachot of demolishing. So, but to be it on a biblical level, it must be what? For constructive purpose. So demolition in order to build something, right? So that's in all other melachos as well. If it's only to demolish without any constructive results, so meaning that would be forbidden, but on a rabbinic level. Conversely, one who disassembles small utensil whose components are tightly joined transgresses the melach of demolition. For example, it is forbidden to unscrew the head of the broom, right, from the broomstick, right. One who does this in order to reattach it. So maybe it's like it was screwed sideways or something, or did not go into thread correctly, something, right? So they want to fix it, right? One who does this in order to reattach it even more firmly, right, or correctly. I'm just saying, in which the demolishment performed for constructive purpose, right, has violated the Torah prohibition. So technically, you would say it is forbidden to attach firmly, right? It's going to be forbidden on a level of Torah or a level of rabbis, but still attached, still forbidden. Okay, so number 3, cases where it is permitted to disassemble a small utensil on Shabbos. Cases where it is permitted to disassemble a small utensil on Shabbos. Okay, where the parts are not tightly joined. In the case of utensil whose parts are not made to be tightly joined, one is permitted to disassemble on Shabbos. So not made partly joined. So I think this is the key phrase. But let's continue. Since the pieces are never attached firmly, they are not regarded as a single object. Therefore, the melach of demolition does not apply. For example, an example would be removing pendant from the necklace, or removing the door of the small cabinet, where the door is made to hang loosely on pegs. Okay, so let's actually finish the short subsection B, where the utensil is made to be disassembled and reassembled. Many poskim maintain that where utensil normal use involve taking it apart and then putting it together again, one is permitted to disassemble it even if the parts are tightly joined. For example, since the salt shaker is made to be opened and closed, one is permitted to unscrew the cover. Okay, because this is the utensil normal use. It is not regarded in demolishing. Demolishing, double quotes. Okay, so let's do it again from the beginning, and we try to understand. So again, our subsection 3, cases where it is permitted to disassemble small utensils on Shabbos. So again, I'll write when it's not tightly joined and they were not designed to be tightly joined, right? So meaning if this, in other words, you have a broomstick, right, into this broom head. I'm just taking previous example. So actually, they were designed to be tightly joined. Otherwise, it would be flimsy. So meaning, even if it's not tightly joined, you cannot unscrew it. So that's the thing, right? And and we see it from examples, from perfect example that he gives. At least first one. Second one, I'm not sure exactly what does it mean, but let's see from the beginning. In the case of a utensil whose parts are not made to be tightly joined, right? Not made. So from the beginning, broomstick and broom head, for sure they made to be tightly joined. One is permitted to disassemble it on Shabbos. On Shabbos, period. Okay. Since the pieces never have attached firmly, right? They're not regarded single object. Okay, so not single object. So, but broom, if you think about it, it is a single object. So that's, I think this example with the broom, I think it's perfect. An example would be removing a pendant from the necklace. I'm not sure how often they take out, but technically you can you use. He said necklace. Usually they use chain, not necklaces, I think. But you can, I don't know. So, but let's say chain. I mean, for me to easily understand, you have chain, maybe this color, that color, and you have a pendant, and you can change mix and match, well, whatever you want. Okay, so there is no problem. So it never was designed to attach tightly, right? So that's a good example. So next example, me personally, I do not know what does it mean. So removing a door from a small cabinet. We got small cabinet. So small cabinet. So before we continue, this small cabinet does not touch to the wall, right? So it's not like you have like a shelf or something like or kitchen cabinet. So that's out of the question because it's part of the structure. So some small cabinet, maybe nightstand or something. I don't know. Like let's see. Where the door is made to hang loosely on pegs. I'm not sure how it is on pegs. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's leave it. I mean, usually the door they made on hinges, but pegs it's something different. Pegs are the things. What is pegs? Pegs are the things that you stick when you want to put a shelf or you want to adjust the shelf. Sometimes they come in the metal, as a metal, sometimes it's a wood, and those are pegs. But door hanging on a pegs, I'm not sure. Okay, so but I think one example is very, very clear. There is this necklace. It's perfect example. Okay, so next one, B, where the utensil is made to be disassembled and reassembled. So many poskim maintain that where the utensil normal use involve taking it apart and then put it in together again. So meaning even for storage, right? One is permitted to disassemble and even take it apart, take it parts tightly joined, right? For example, since the salt shaker, so I mean again perfect example, right, is meant to be opened and closed. Okay, when you need to add salt. So even on Shabbos you need more salt or something. Possible, right? One is permitted to unscrew the cover. Okay. Because this is the utensil normal use, it is not regarding demolishing, right? So meaning that's a good example. Usually you tighten it, otherwise it can fall off. Okay. So again, even if it's tightly joined, small utensil, but it was made to do this way, there is no problem. Very good example. Okay, and we go to the next section. Demolish. So it's subsection, not section, section 6, and our topic: demolition temporary oil. So oil was actually our previous chapter, 31. Okay. And it says, as explained in chapter 31. That the sages forbade a person to erect temporary oil, literally a roof or tent, right, on Shabbos. They were concerned that erecting temporary oils might lead to erect permanent ones, which would violate the biblical prohibition of building. As we explained above, the Melachot of demolition is a converse of Melachot of building. Okay. Accordingly, since erecting a temporary oil on Shabbos is forbidden, demolishing one is forbidden as well. Okay, so let's do, it's like an introduction. Mind, it's a long section. Okay, so let's do the introduction again. So again, demolishing temporary oil. So oil as Ohel, as we said, it's also in the structure, right? The structure. So again, as I explained in the previous chapter, the sages forbade to erect a temporary oil. So if it's permanent, it's needless, it's a building, 100%. But our sages say even temporary, forbidden, just quickly to remind, because people do forget things, right? They would leave it in place. Okay. They were concerned that erecting temporary oils might lead to erecting permanent ones, right? Which would violate the biblical prohibition of the building, and that's actually what our sages charge with to prevent us from the next step. What is the next step? To forbid to transgress Chas v'Shalom biblical prohibition. Okay, as we explained above, the Melachot of demolition is the converse of the Melachot of building. So whatever. So what does converse mean? Converse mean whatever is not allowed to build is not allowed to demolish. Right. Same as other things. When we'll learn about what making knots. I mean, it was a long time ago, but we will learn it. So whatever knot you're not allowed to make on Shabbos, so you're not allowed to untie it on Shabbos. Okay. So So continue. Accordingly, since erecting temporary oil on Shabbos is forbidden, demolition one is forbidden as well. Okay. But this demolition, just in my mind, it could be forbidden on a biblical level, it could be forbidden on a rabbinical level. Okay, depends on situation. And we go into details. Subsection A, the prohibition. The rule is that any temporary oil that one forbidden to erect, one is also forbidden to dismantle. Okay, in many instances, the oil needs consists of nothing more than a roof. In others, it just consists of both a roof and walls. In certain cases, walls alone consist in oil. Okay, these differentiations are elucidated at length in chapter 21. We will briefly review the main points here. Okay, so it's very extensive, so let's do the introduction and then we continue with the main point. So again, the prohibition. The prohibition to demolish temporary oil. The rule is that any temporary oil, one is forbidden to erect, one is forbidden to dismantle. So that's so far so good. Okay. And we're talking about even it was erected on Shabbos or before Shabbos, does not matter. So meaning that once it was erected, so you cannot fix it by now dismantle, because the person is going to violate the second prohibition, right? So that's I think that's obvious, but just to remind us. In many instances, the oil needs consists of nothing more than the roof. Okay. In others, it must consist of both roof and the walls. But the roof, again, the roof cannot be suspended by itself. Usually, it's hold on by something. Okay, most likely it's walls, but we'll see. Okay, in certain cases, walls alone constitute oil, right? So even without what is it? Without the roof. And I think we've learned in the Talmud Sukkah when the walls are actually like bended, like they go like a dome, right? It's the same wall. It's there is no real roof. Okay, or roof is too small. Okay, just consider these the differentiations are elucidated at length, chapter 21. Okay, we briefly review the main points here. He does an amazing favor for us. So let's see, right? The roof. That's exactly what we just said. Listen to this. The prohibition against dismantling temporary roof applies only to roof that covers area measure at least 1 square tefach. Right? Tefach is a feast. So right. So okay. So we usually count when we say about a feast, we say 3.5 to 4 inches. Right. Here we go. The tefach hand breadth measure approximately 3.75 inches according to Rav Moshe Feinstein. That's all. Okay, so 3.75 it is. Okay. There must be at least tefach of empty space beneath the roof. Okay. If there is a less than tefach of space beneath the roof, it is not halachically regarded as roof, and we may dismantle it, and it may be dismantled on Shabbos. The prohibition of temporary oil applies only to a roof that has independent supports, that is poles, a wall, etc. Okay. If, however, the roof is being supported by a person himself, the prohibition does not apply. So, example we gave, like somebody is holding like a raincoat. There is a raincoat without the hood, and they like hanging holding above their head. Okay. So if there is no air of it would be forbidden, but if there is air of it would be allowed. Continue. The prohibition also does not apply to where oil was assembled in reverse order. There is the first setting the roof and then erecting the supports. Right, and we're going to remind examples that we gave in the last chapters. Likewise, one who disassembled temporary roof in reverse order, that is by first taking down the poles and then lowering the roof, has not violated the prohibition of demolishing. Okay. Alright, so let's do from the beginning. Okay, so and we're up to subsection 1, which our topic is roof. So we need to give definition of the roof. So again, quickly, the prohibition against the dismantled temporary roof applies only to a roof covering the area measuring of at least 1 square tefach. So at least the width of this roof must be a square tefach. So example that I gave from the Talmud Saka, so it was like a wall extension of the wall. It was bending like in the form of dome, and then I think it was less than a tefach. So they say, yeah, looks like roof if you think like you sit inside, like a roof is huge, like a roof it's something above. Wall is standing erect, and roof is like above. But since it is continuation of the wall, it's not considered technically a roof. That's the thing, right? So again, must be tefach by tefach, so a tiny roof. But again, like technically, tiny roof is enough. Like on one hand, on the other hand, you have to sit under the skach, like in sukkah, for example, right? So meaning usually people not so small that they can be, the whole body is under this piece of roof. So that's why we have to make sure that there is no like interposition between us and in a skach when we sit in the sukkah. Okay. So again, we explained tefach is 3.75 inches by 3.75. Okay. There must be at least a tefach or empty space underneath the roof. So meaning, that's main one very critical rule. It must be tefach, like underneath. So meaning, when a person puts the tablecloth, that's what we said in the last chapter, long time ago, right? So we said that there is no problem, and looks like if you think about it, right? It is an extension of the roof, and then your tablecloth is hanging from all of the four corners. Sometimes if it's a little longer, it's like almost to the floor. But it's not forbidden, right? Because there is no space between the table itself and this tablecloth. So you can, for example, as we said, you need to shake off the breadcrumbs or something. It's not a problem. Okay, so again, if there is at least a tefach of empty space underneath the roof, if there is a less than a tefach or nothing, right, of the space between the roof, it is not halakhic regarded as roof. Right, so it's something on top, and the same, and that's why we said there is that's why it is allowed to cover sukkah with tarpaulin, right, with plastic, with whatever we want, right, on a rainy day, because it's not considered to be like you build oil, because it lies right on top of the skach. Right, and it's not halachically regarded as roof, and maybe dismantled on Shabbos. So, and you can take this plastic over on Shabbos or Shabbos Sukkos. Okay, continue. The prohibition of temporary oil applies only to a roof that has independent support. Right, there is a poles, a wall, etc. So something must hold it. Okay. If, however, the roof is being supported by a person himself, the prohibition does not apply. So that's the story, examples that we gave with a person that needs to put on a baby carriage mosquito net, right? So meaning a person holding in hand, so it's not considered to be a roof. Okay, does not apply. And plus, we said we did it in a reverse order. The prohibition also does not apply. So we continue. Where the oil was assembled in reverse order. So regular way. They were of the world. How do you do things? First you build the walls and then you build the roof. Okay. But reverse order, you build the roof and you do the walls. Okay. There's a first setting up the roof and then erecting its supports. Likewise, one who dismantles temporary and example that we gave for example, somebody needs to make this makeshift like step stool, right, to get something from a kitchen cabinet, like on top of the shelf or something, right? And they have this box, and they want to put this board, like a plywood or something, like a wooden board on top of this box, and climb step on it and get something that they need. So the proper way to put it like this box upside down. So with a flat thing on top and the step, and that's it. Or put the board, and it's not going to be oil, nothing, right? It's not oil, right? And you can make a step. But if they wanted to do opposite, so the right side up, right, with open side up. So meaning when you put it somewhere, it's like you build walls somewhere else. So to put plywood on top would be forbidden because you build new oil. So there are walls, not right. The walls that you built in another place, and now you cover with this piece of plywood. But in case of the need, we said we can do the reverse. So one person would hold this plywood like in the hands, and another would push this box, right, milk crate box, whatever we want, right underneath. So meaning first we build the roof, and then we build this wall support. So that's why we said it's not forbidden. So again, if it's in the reverse order, it's not forbidden at all. Right. So meaning at all, meaning we can of course don't rely on it every time, but the thing is that we can use it in case of the need. Okay. So again, let me just quickly read it. The prohibition also does not apply to where oil was assembled in reverse order, that it first setting up the roof, right, and then erecting supports. Likewise, one who dismantled temporary roof and in the reverse order, right, there is by first taking down the poles, right, so meaning somebody else is helping this person holding the roof, right, and then lowering the roof, has not violated the prohibition of demolishing. Okay, no problem. So number 2, the purpose of the roof. A roof that is used by people or animal, there is afford protection from sun or rain, may not be dismantled on Shabbos. Even if the area it covers is not enclosed by walls, right, or it enclosed by walls that were erected before Shabbos. For the law of the roof, whose underneath space is not used for people and animals, see, like it's a different story. So I mean for storage or something. Okay, so let's quickly, we care about more about people. So let's see from the beginning. The purpose of the roof. So a roof that is used by people or animals. So meaning these cases it would be like more stricter. For example, to afford the protection from sun or rain. So that's my majority of the roofs, I guess. May not be dismantled on Shabbos, even in the area it covers is not enclosed by walls. So it's not so what does it mean? It's not a real oil, no walls, right? Or enclosed by walls that were erected before Shabbos. Okay. For the law of the roof that underneath underneath space is not used for people, animals. See chapter 21. That's not what we should care. Continue. Number 3, a folding canopy. One who simply folds up a folding canopy has not violated the prohibition against dismantling temporary oil. The rabbinic prohibition was to disassemble an oil. right? This sort of canopy, however, remains fully assembled even after being folded. Therefore, it is not included in the prohibition. According to many poskim, it is this permit applies even to folding canopy that is being used to protect a person. So, for example, from sun and rain. Let's do from the beginning. So, folding canopy, like this, what is it? What was it called? The canopy deck umbrella. This huge umbrella. Sometimes, like they put it on the side, like on the side, like it has like a very heavy base, or sometimes like in the middle of the table, right? And you can open. So there is no pressure. So it's not broken. So first of all, I think it would be one of the things, like in the category, the things that were designed to build it this way. It's not that it's a broken or assembled. That's we can compare this umbrella to the folding chair. What's the difference? It was designed like this, so no problem. So it says one who simply folds up the folding canopy has not violated the prohibition against dismantled temporary oil, right? So, right, for sure. The rabbinic prohibition was to disassemble the oil. Disassemble meaning taking apart. This is no taking apart. All the parts are still like attached to each other, right? And it's not broken, right? You can easily like open up again. This sort of the canopy, however, remains fully assembled, even being folded. So meaning that this is second reason. So one reason they said, as I just said, that it was designed this way. Second reason, like but also like good that it, even if it's closed, it's still right. It's not disassembled. Therefore, it is not included in prohibition. According to many poskim, this permit applies even when folding canopy is being used to protect a person. That is from rain and sun. Commentary. However, other poskim rule that if the covering was meant to protect person, the leniency does not apply. I mean, right? I know this opinion. I think if in case of the need, what is case of the need? I don't know what is case of the need. So, meaning if you open, for example, if you want to have lunch, like a Shabbos lunch on a deck, and you have sun, I mean, you can open this thing. There is no problem. So, like in my mind, just don't close it. That's it. So, unless, for example, some reasons that it's better for you to close, maybe it's going to be like a wind, very strong wind, and it can break things around. So it's better, of course, to close it. But otherwise, you can just leave it open. That's it. Okay. So don't go against this poskim that said, right, if it's was used to for people, don't disassemble it. Okay. So number 4, where some of the roof remains, right. One is permitted to disassemble temporary temporary roof on Shabbos. If he takes care to leave the tefach of the roof standing. For example, one may remove mosquito net from the top of the baby carriage if it leaves the tefach of the net covering the carriage. Okay, so and another example that we use about the sukkah. So I mean, for me personally, it's more practical. I mean, baby carriage as well, but because even you take off this tarpaulin, so don't take it off completely. Just use it. Usually, like nobody sits right next to the wall, like next to. Usually, unless it's a tiny sukkah, but I'm not sure how can you walk around. What is that? Usually they come like 8 feet width. Do they come 6 feet? Maybe. I'm not sure why would somebody buy 6 feet. I mean, it's very tight. Like if you need to go to the bathroom, somebody like who sits in far in corners, so everybody have to get up. But if you have 8 feet wide sukkah, so of course it's a little tighter, but you have enough room to walk around. So meaning what I'm trying to say, so no one is going to sit too close to the wall. like so meaning you can leave your trampoline there. Okay, trampoline, right? Or of course, as so meaning that you move it aside. I mean, no, it's not a good example. I apologize. It's not a good example because it stays on top of the skach. It's not a problem, right? It's not a problem. Okay, so this this is a good example. Whatever he gives is a mosquito net. So meaning because it's hanging in the air. So for sure it's a roof, right? So he said that even if you take it back, don't close it completely. Same with the hood, right? The hood like a baby carriage hood. Don't close completely. Leave one tefach open. Then you can extend it. So extension is also always allowed, right? So meaning it's not you start a new building of the new roof, right? So you continue what you started before. You extend in the existing roof, and it would be allowed. And let's do number 5, and we stop. And it says demolishing temporary wall, dismantling temporary wall. In most cases, one is permitted to erect or dismantle temporary wall. There is a wall without roof on Shabbos. If, however, the temporary wall is needed to divide room into different areas for halachic reasons, one is forbidden to erect or dismantle on Shabbos. For example, partition erected to allow a person to perform the bodily needs in a room containing sphorim may not be removed on Shabbos. See chapter for elaboration. So let's quickly understand. So from the beginning, dismantle. Our topic is demolishing. Okay, dismantling temporary wall. So meaning that this wall was allowed to be erected on Shabbos to begin with. So again, in most cases, one is permitted to erect or dismantle temporary wall. Erect or dismantle temporary wall. Okay. There is a wall without roof, right? So and this wall, like I would say, wall in double quotes. We said that people do curtain. They have hooks, right, or rails, right, hooks or rails that were there before Shabbos, and they would put this. They have rings, for example, and they would put on rings attached to the curtain, and they assemble they hang it on these hooks. There is no problem whatsoever. Why? Because it does not attach to the ground. With little wind, right, is going to go back and forth, so it's not considered temporary. It's not considered to be wall, right? And it is allowed to erect, and it's allowed to take it down, right? But if it's we said that this kind of mechitza, when men and women pray. So exactly as we said, it's not technically necessary. Men can face this way, women that way. Usually, where is it where is it? Not in my show. In my current show, there is no problem. So the women's section. So women very organized. God bless them. So whether on the left, on the right. I mean, a few times a year, women go to the men's section. A few times a year. I think on Shabbos Hagadol, when Rabbi gives the speech, so women on the left, men on the right, because it's a lot of women. Baruch Hashem, they come. And before Yom Kippur, right? Shabbos Shuvah, so also a lot of women come, but usually they sit on their own side. But in case I'm not sure, like a different setup of the shul, right? So if they or in a place that they pray, for example, in a house where they say Sheva Brachas, right? Sheva Brachas, right? It's also the Shabbos for sure. Right, so this what was it? This mechitza technically not necessary. Women can go to the different room. Men can face different wall, and that's it, right? But if somebody needs to go to the bathroom and there are sphorim there, it is a problem. So for all of these people who live in a what is it? Usually we don't go in the bathroom. If you have a kid, right? You have like a newborn or something, you need to change diapers for sure. For sure, it's not allowed to do it in like a undress, like a change a kid. He's sweet, she's sweet. I understand that, but still not in front of the Sforim. So Sforim must be covered. Right. So here, this partition for this sick person that needs to tend to his bodily needs, like in that room. So you cannot erect this partition, as we said, because it changes the status of the room, of this section. Halachic status, so meaning allowed this person to go to the bathroom, and you're not allowed to remove this partition. So of course, as we said, like practically, you can cover the books themselves. That's it. Take a blanket or something like a bed sheet or something like a carbo or whatever, and just cover the books themselves. Okay, so let's stop here.